Surface Glam Rock, 1950s fashion, inspiring hair that has a glamorous rockabilly look, with a modern short to long disconnected crop, embracing both glamour and rock and roll. My name is Wayne Grund. Welcome to Surface Glam Rock. Let's learn and have some fun. Our glam rock look for Britney will begin with sectioning just underneath the ridgeline all the way around the head in a slight diagonal. We'll disconnect directionally underneath and then drop that top panel down and cut directionally for the influence of soft, fluid rockabilly movement on top. For Britney's hair, we're going to use a little of the Trinity Tonic to really help support the hair as we cut. I like to be able to see my style set up for me as I'm shaping. Our disconnected line, as you can see, is working right from the top of our occipital bone, just underneath the ridge line below the black zone, and we're wrapping all the way around the head. Where we're going to begin our line is going to be right through the back here, very similar to what in our core cutting system is for our front and center line, but with a vertically cropped type of a feel. We'll take the surface razor and run right through the center of our back. Section that out. And I'm working with my knuckles to the head now, going really smooth with our surface comb, and I'm going to shatter that down, and round my hand away. You'll see that falling right into the neckline. And I've got two choices, one to come in hard there, and the other one to leave just a little bit of a softer edge on the bottom. And to do that, I'm going to lightly turn my hand up at the end too. It's giving us the option to be able to kick this out or lay it flat. My next section will be coming right the side. And in our cutting system, on our core base, this is our blue zone that we're cutting right now. That guide traveled across. Let me shatter this line down. Shatter that line down, and the exact same feel in the end. I want to have the option here of leaving a little bit of fringe. Moving on the right side of the guide, take that straight out, shatter that line down, and I'm really becoming aware now behind the ear of those red zones to see, making sure I want some fullness here. I may need to over direct some of this panel in, or in this case, as I want the hair to really flow forwards, I'm going to start in these second panels now and start working diagonal. So I'm picking the guide up that I cut to the left side of the very center back, laying the razor underneath and working a soft beveling motion. If I lay the razor on top, the hair would want to flip up too much. I want this to bevel under. So I'll go to the side right beside it, underneath, and continue to bevel. And my hand that holds the hair, it slides out and away, leaving a little bit more length into the corner of the nape. Again, reinforcing any weakness that a person may have in that red zone area. As I move over top of the ear, let's take that exact same guide from the back and shatter that line forwards. So my outer perimeter here is really having a nice direction, moving forwards and collapsing into the face. For a disconnect here, to really have it hug the cheekbone right over top of the ear, I'll take that section out, and now I'm working with my knuckles to the head, everything combed out really nice and smooth, and let's disconnect. It's a very, very long disconnect that I'm working with. Be able to keep some fullness. Space creates lift, which is so important behind the eye. And one of the things you'll notice is that we've taken and we've moved up about a ½ inch into that hairline. Now I take the surface swivel, bend the shear down for total control, and I'm going to take this really nice and short right behind the eye so I can have a really nice, strong look to it. My outer perimeter line here, let me drop it down, put my blade underneath, and as I'm cutting that line, I lightly roll the shear under. And with the swivel, it's not my thumb that's rolling, it's my back 4 fingers that lightly roll that line under. As we move to the opposite side, remember we cut our guide in the back, one panel beside, and it's this panel beside that I'm going to use for my guide. So we'll start by taking that section to behind the ear, pull out my guide, there it is, and I want to bevel this so the blade's going to come underneath And I'm going to pull that line forwards. And now I'm really using my visual to see how much longer I may want to fall and a little bit of a symmetry here. So comb that from underneath up. The blade comes underneath. And let's take that hair in the direction that we want it to fall. The blade comes underneath and taking that hair all directionally. Working just slightly longer as we're moving to the right. Take that line and we're working it all in the direction that we want that end result to fall. Beveling everything from underneath. Now, as we move into the area right behind the ear, I'll continue to take that guide from the back, and you'll see here we drop down lower so I can leave more weight on my disconnect afterwards. Coming into the swivel, the same thing as we've shaped this out behind the eye so we can end up with a really nice, strong line. Space creates lift. Such gorgeous eyes. We'll just be able to bring that back and away. And on this side, let's pick that up right over top of the ear. Take the swivel, turn it directionally, and then as I'm cutting, lightly roll that wrist under again. I'm going to save my outer perimeter till the end. We'll drop the top down now and create our disconnect. From our part line, we've dropped the top disconnect down, and I'm going to work right behind that part, take our disconnect line out, and work with a very soft bevel. So taking the surface blade and just shattering that from underneath. And again, really noting how soft the blade is to leave a real conditioning edge on the hair. So shattering that all down. And I prefer to use my razor here because it leaves a very soft edge on the disconnect. So there's no line to it. So I'll move to my opposite side. Blade comes underneath. And we'll let that disconnect fall right over the top. Shattering that hair all in the direction that we want it to fall and giving it a beveling influence. Take that line down. Combing real smooth base to ends and giving it that really nice beveled influence over the top. And you'll start to see this hair really collapse over its edge. As I move into the front now, I want a little more strength around the face. So I'm going to move back into our surface swivel, take the line down right behind the eye, and I take the shear, and these 4 fingers are what bend the swivel. The thumb simply does the cutting, and it blends in, and I'm going to walk that now, just fluttering the thumb out to the end to really leave that corner. My shear gives me a stronger line. And the same thing with my fringe now. Let's take that fringe down, comb that nice and smooth, lay the blade underneath and just lightly roll the top blade over top of the bottom of that shear, just giving it more strength. You can see the line that starts to fall in around the face. Over into the opposite side, the exact same thing, coming in, laying that bottom blade on my finger and then just rolling the top blade, creating a bevel effect on my corner. And we start to see that real glam rock feel start to hit in, where I can kick that top up for the rock and roll feel, but have a very glamorous feel in around my perimeter still. Now, with my layers in top, I need movement. I want to be able to have a set look to this. Beautiful glam waves, and I want to be able to do rock and roll too to kick it out. So I need movement. I'm going to start right where my thumb is on the part. All my layers are going to move from that. I'm going to begin my pattern over my part line, and then everything is going to work like a spoke wheel away from that. And I'm not closing the shear all the way. I'm just lifting that line up, picking up that guide, and lightly fluttering the thumb to walk the shear out to the ends. Lift that line up and just lightly move that thumb so it falls out to the ends. Let's continue to work all the way around. Take that guide and shatter that all the way out. Combing those sections nice and smooth, right from base to ends. So now what we've done, we've dropped the line. We've beveled it with the razor underneath, creating a collapse. You can start to see the hourglass shape start to fill in and a very light blend out. Now to really make this work, we're going to use some framing, and we'll move back into the surface razor again, and just right at that temple, I want this to lift just a little bit more by the disconnect. So I'll lift that up, and right where my disconnect is falling out, let's lift that up, right there where my disconnect is falling out, I want an ever so light frame. Just short pieces pushing that long away. So I'm going all the way around the head, and right where my disconnect is falling out, I'm creating just a very light blend. All the way around, right where that disconnect comes out. So now the disconnect actually has just a little bit of a support base there. So lift that line out. Where's my disconnect? There it is. So right where that disconnect falls out, lay the blade horizontal and shatter out to the ends. I'll take the jump, shoot it at my base. And the key with the jump is working with the corn starches. And the corn starches are very uniquely derived from the actual husk of the corn. And going into my blow dry, I'm going to add something just a little bit extra into our base, even with the hair damp. And what we're going to do is we're going to come in with the push powder and just lightly tap it at the base, jump into our blow dry for a lot of real soft volume to it. And the TK2 brush doing a great job of really laying the cuticle down, drying the hair about 40% of the time quicker. And for a little extra, look at the volume of that. I mean, the jump and then the extra oomph from the push just gives me tremendous volume to the hair. And we'll follow through with just a little bit more push. For the real glam rock feel, we need shine. We need some real polish. And that's where the Bassu Shine Spray comes in. I'm lightly going to mist the top. Just lightly mist that line over the top and comb it down. Virtually weightless, and watch the shine just glisten into this hair. Take the shine wax on my finger, and let's even show an option. Let's tuck that behind the ear. See how nicely that tucks in behind? One of the main reasons for that is because the disconnect that we did underneath. That disconnect takes the weight away, and it tucks in hard behind the cheekbone to really frame the eye. Let's take a look at that other eye. Let's set a little more glamour to it. Take the shift shine wax in the fingertips, coming in behind, and look how that tucks behind, but look what I got. I got the fringe still on it. Now, if I didn't disconnect that, it would be too wide in through the side. So you start to see some real finishing options that you've got with the shift shine wax. The shift molding clay just gives me that oomph, really kicks it out, but yet I can come down and shape it down into its finished style. I believe glam rock is a real time of hairdressing again. And to really experience some of the options, it's going to be my pleasure to introduce you to my daughter Jackie Yoakum, who's going to come in and be able to share with you some styling and finishing techniques with surface.
Styling Brittany, we're going to start off before the blow dry with the Bassu Shine Spray. Now she has fairly fine hair towards the face, but in the back it's quite coarse and a slight bit of a ruffle to it when you blow dry. So this is going to give us a real smooth, shiny finish. Brittany's been blown nice and smooth and shiny with the Bassu Shine Spray. Now we're going in with the shift molding clay. Nice firm hold clay, but on the longer hair, I'm really just going to use it to sculpt some of the ends. I'm going to get into the root to give a little bit of lift. And again, just sculpting those edges. I just want to bring out that razor cut, that definition in the ends. You can see how on top where it was cut with the surface shear, that's a little bit more weighted for that full-bodied look. So that went in and just gave us that nice separation. On top of that, now I'm really going to work with the Shift Shine Wax. Now with about the size of a nickel, really massage that through my hands. Now this is a shine wax that has a lot of shine from the Bassu oil, which is in our Bassu line for shine, but this is going to give some nice moderate hold, but great shine, almost a deep, rich glow to the hair. I'm going to massage this through, root to end, in through the bang. So this is a little bit of a sleeker, piecier finish. And for a nice final touch with this Glam Rock theme is a flower. So now we're marrying the soft glamour with a little bit of a rock and roll feel. A great 50s glamour inspired style is going to start with taffy whip. I'm going to come in to her hair with about the size of a quarter, and you'll see how those fibers just lightly land over throughout the hair. But I'm just going to come in and actually rake my hands through the hair, really dispersing it root to end. And then I'm going to move in with a pin curl set, a little bit of a finger wave edge. Taffy whip has made the hair extremely pliable. As you can see, I did all the stand-up pin curls, a miniature pin curl above the right ear, along with a little slight finger wave. So I'll demo here on the left exactly how I did that. So just comb that hair straight up, tuck that in under, come in, pass me that clip, hun. Thank you. And I'll just simply come in and clip that pin curl. Now we'll do the one directly behind it. Roll that hair down. Then I just open up the clip from the previous pin curl, slide it through, and then I'll hold them both in place. Just sliding that hair back and then giving it a nice bend forwards. And a slight pin curl in front of this ear. Clip to hold. And then I'll just show you here what I did in the back. So I pin curled everything up to about the ridge, and then I just went in horizontally with my clip and just lifted for a little bit of body in the back. Now what we'll do is we'll set her under the dryer till it's nice and dry, and then we'll rake it out. Taffy whip and pin curls have been set, and now I'm coming in with my surface rake and I'm just raking through those curls for just big body waves. I'm going to finish detail with that real polished look with the Shift Shine Wax. So I just really break that down in between my fingers and rake that product in through those curls and through that wave.